I'm a DACA recipient. I was brought over when I was a little kid. I'm not an illegal immigrant. I'm just not a citizen yet. It's only a matter of time. Now, throughout my whole life, I've been getting a whole bunch of different responses. Most of the time, you hear this: well, you should deport them all. Your DACA is illegal. The other reaction that I get is, we don't. I don't have a problem with immigrants. All I want is for you to do it the right way. Those are the most common ones you hear. But the question I have is, what is the right way? Because to my understanding, in my situation, right, in my circumstance, me as a person, because every person is individual, circumstance is different. In my situation, there's three ways I could have become a citizen. One way is I could have married a U.S. citizen. I didn't marry a U.S. citizen. I got married to my high school sweetheart that I met when she was 15, and it turns out she also has DACA. You know, life's a bitch, right? But I would never regret marrying her, because at the end of the day, dude, I have three beautiful kids, and I would not trade my marriage for freaking citizenship. I was 15. At that age, who's gonna ask? You're gonna ask your girlfriend, "Hey, what's your immigration status?" The other way is through employment sponsorship, right? You could get an employer that somehow sponsors you, but that's a whole different process, right? And the third and final option is when you have a family member, like in my case is my daughter. She will petition me, and that is in like 3 years she could petition me to become a citizen. Now, these are two responses to those three scenarios, right? First response is, well, why didn't you get married to a U.S. citizen? Obviously, I already explained that. But let's assume I would have got married to a U.S. citizen, then they would have been like, oh, look at this guy. He's only marrying her for the papers. He doesn't even love her. Pinche vato interesado. He's just marrying her. He's just using her. That's a fraud. It's a fraud wedding because you're just using her for your citizenship, right? Scenario number two. Second scenario. Let's say I would have went through an employment sponsorship. Oh, here we go again. Another immigrant stealing from an American job. Another immigrant stealing from an American job because that American could have had that job. Third option, right? And here's the third option. When my daughter turns 21. Oh, here we go again. Another one using an anchor baby. Another one using an anchor baby. So, to those 3 points, no matter what option I use or how I do it, people are still not going to be happy. And that's what I've learned throughout doing my advocacy. I've been doing advocacy for DACA recipients and non-domiciled CDL holders. You can never please everybody. No matter what, people always got something to say, and they're never going to be happy. So what do they say? Oh, well, you know what? Your parents crossed, your parents came here illegally, and it's very unfortunate for you, but you guys have to deal with the consequences, and you have to go back to your country. Now let's assume that I go back to my country, which is Mexico, right? The country that I don't know, a country that I've been raised here, I lived here my whole life. Let's just assume that I go back to Mexico. Now I'm gonna take my 3 kids with me, and do to those 3 kids what my parents did to me. And I'm going to move them to Mexico, to a country that they don't know, yet alone I don't know. And it's not their country. Their country is here. My country is here. But based on that logic, let's assume I go to Mexico and say, all right, guys, you're right. My parents broke the law, and it's a consequence. I'm going to go back to Mexico, and I'm taking my three U.S. citizen kids to Mexico. And let's just say 15 years go by. And now I'm doing to my kids what my parents did to me, don't you think? So in that logic, question, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, what is the right way? I thought I was doing the right way because this program came about, right? Obama created it. Now, whether Obama did it legal or illegal, all I know is that there was a program available to me, and I applied for it. Because the same people that are talking shit about DACA are the same people that would have said something if I didn't apply for DACA. They would have been like, oh, well, there was a program named DACA. Why didn't you apply? At the end of the day, you cannot please everybody. And that's what I've learned. That's what I've learned through doing all this. People always got shit to say. People are never happy. At the end of the day, I don't know what's the right way. I thought I was doing the right way. All I know is that I am paying taxes. All I know is that I do have a social security number. All I know is that I'm not here illegally. I speak better English than Spanish, and my kids are U.S. citizens. And it's only a matter of time before I become a U.S. citizen. I keep saying that shit. Like, I got a country. I got tattooed the roads of a country that thinks I don't want to be here, bro. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, guys, this is for DACA recipients. Hang in tight. I know it's hard. Right now they're coming after DACA recipients, but there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of stuff that you guys need to read. Do some deep research. These news, I finally agree on one thing with Trump is this fake news narrative. Because at the same time, these news, it's a business. They want ratings and they want clicks and views. So they're gonna put these controversial headlines because they want you to click and they want you to watch the article because that's how they get paid. So just do some research, and for my DACA recipients and to all immigrants, there's a big difference between an immigrant and an illegal immigrant. You know who you are. I am not here illegally, and at the end of the day, let the, perro que ladra no muerde. That's what I say. Let them bark. Let them bark. At the end of the day, we know what we got. We got the documents. The government knows where we're at. The governments have my social security number. The governments have my address, and I check in every 2 years to get a fingerprint. So I'm not hiding from ICE. So this whole narrative, like, oh, I can't wait for ICE to find you. How are they gonna find me if I'm not hiding? You know what I mean? You guys stay safe, and I'll keep you guys posted on this whole immigration and non-domicile situation.